What's happening, guys? Edgy Outdoors here, coming to you with a new knife review. I apologize for being out for the last 6 weeks or so. We had the holidays, we had a new job, and illness that kind of hit us pretty hard over the last few weeks. Um, anyway, we're back. We should be coming strong with a bunch of new videos. Um, Starting off with one that I have been looking forward to for over a year now, knowing that it was had to be coming out soon. Throughout the whole last year, we kept getting some hints that it would be coming out, over the last year, and then finally it did at the end of last year. So, sitting in front of you, you have the PM3, the Paramilitary 3 from Spyderco. It is the little brother, and we'll do some size comparisons here in a little bit to kind of show you the difference between this and its older brothers, bigger brothers, the military and the paramilitary 2. To get some of the geeky stuff out of the way, the size comparisons, the materials, etc., let's go through what this knife actually looks like, what it is. First of all, it's a full flat ground knife. The blade length on this bad boy, if we zoom in on it a little bit here, try to get her to focus right there. The blade length on this bad boy is 3 inches. The overall length is 7.27 inches. The cutting edge is 2.63 inches. The thickness on this guy is, I don't know if I can get this to focus right there or not. We will see. See how we do here. The width on this guy is about 3.8 millimeters. The blade steel, as you can see right here, is CPM S30V steel, which is an excellent steel for value. It's not what I would call the hardest super steel out there. It doesn't keep an edge as well as many. It does sharpen fairly well. It's really a good value steel, in my humble opinion. Again, full flat grind. We have the compression lock on this guy, which is my favorite lock from Spyderco, one of my favorite locks on any knife. It's full G10 handles. It is tip up or tip down carry, left or right, so ambidextrous users can use it in any pocket. I know there's many people that might be right-handed that like to carry it left. I do think the compression lock in general lends itself to a right-handed person. I am right-handed, so it does not bother me. This one is actually made in Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. If you look at the blade, it says Earth. I still love that on Spyderco. Anyway, so overall, we do a size comparison on this guy compared to what we're kind of used to seeing from Spyderco in this general family. Move this guy down. Let's come in with one of the most popular knives of all times. We have the Paramilitary 2. As you can see, this guy is substantially larger than the PM3. Still one of my favorites. This happens to be one of my favorite steels in the PM2, which is the M390. If we compare this to the big brother in the military, I can't even fit that on the current zoom. That's how big this bad boy is. That is the Millie. Again, a lot of people's favorite knives out there, always competing with the PM2. If we compare this just to some others that aren't in that family, just for a size comparison, we can see this guy. And if we go outside of the Spyderco, oh, by the way, that's the Delica 4. If we go outside Spyderco family, but keep kind of that similar Spidey hull, we can see a mini Griptilian actually is a comparable knife size to the PM3, a little bit smaller. Certainly we can do a comparison on this, on comparing the two later, but I also love the axis lock. I wish that Benchmade was a little more creative with their knives to take advantage of some of that stuff. Anyway, so we have the PM3 here. Oh, we didn't look at the weight of this guy. Let's look here. So we can get this in here. Good thing I have the scale here to remind me. So 3.38 ounces fits well within that under 4 ounces that many people have as their like kind of underlying weight requirements for a everyday carry knife. So let's go a use case. What do we use this knife for? And then we'll start looking at the things that we like and would we recommend this knife. The use case that I really look at this is really a utility knife. It's an everyday carry utility knife. I've carried it a lot. In fact, I had a difficult time taking it out of my pocket. Ironically enough, I carry this Delica a lot. You can see gunk in there. You can see all sorts of stuff in here. It's just lightweight, nice, perfect size, doesn't get in the way of my pocket. Don't feel like I have it. Whereas the Para 2s and a lot of my other ZT knives, I carry them when I know I have the clothing for it. This guy, it doesn't really matter what I have, I can put it in my pocket. Everyday carry. It's S30V, so it's going to be a good knife steel. Again, it's not going to compete with the S110V or the M390, but it's still a great value. You're also not paying $200 for this knife. So it's just a good overall blade steel. Again, made in the USA. It has a really good feel in hand. You can have choke down or choke up version. It fits well in your hand. It's a great utilitarian knife. You have an excellent jimping for your finger. When you choke up, you can do super fine work. To me, this size knife is actually perfect in most situations as an everyday carry knife. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not somebody that's walking around the lumberyard with an everyday carry knife cutting, hardcore stuff. I'm not doing, field work. I'm not in the military. So, heroes in the military, they may have a different view of what they see as an everyday carry knife. I myself, I'm opening letters. I'm cutting tags off whatever gets bought, opening boxes, except, stuff like that. So my heavy use is really very, very rare when I need it. I have knives when I know I'm going to be doing that. This is probably one that I would use more as an everyday carry because it is small, it is lightweight, has an excellent, easy to open lock that I can do one-handed. I can flick it open with my finger. I can use the thumb method to flick it open, or you can even still use just the compression lock to open the knife up. So it's really a good everyday carry knife. The things that I like most about it, obviously, as I've talked about here a little bit ago, the size. The size is just perfect. I've always had a love affair with the PM2. I always talk about how much I like that size. I still like the size of the PM2. A lot of the same functionality and capabilities are put into the PM3. And I know they're going to come out with more steels and all that to make this a fun knife like the PM2, but as far as overall carry, I do find myself gravitating towards smaller knives than the PM2. Again, I would grab the Delica, I would grab the mini grip. Even a full-size grip at times, I felt like it just takes too much space up in my pockets if I'm wearing sports shorts, or if I have a lot of other things that I know I'm going to be carrying around in my pockets. The other thing is, I put my phone in my same pocket as my knife sometimes, and when the knife is too big, you come out with big old scratches on your phone, which is difficult too. If you put your keys in your pocket, it's. I typically don't use a pocket clip because I feel like it keeps me from putting my hand in my pocket, unless I use my back pocket for my knife. And so, the smaller the knife, the better, I feel like in that case. So. Size is definitely something great. We talked about the compression lock is awesome. The blade shape is really cool. It actually looks a little bit more stout than the PM2, I think. Still has that kind of, lovely recurve on the back almost where it's actually flat. If you were to look at this with a straight edge, I believe it's pretty flat, right? Just a slight curve maybe. But I love that leaf shape that Spyderco has on so many of its knives. It's a really nice shape that they've got on their knives. Again, super light in what they're doing. The G10 handles are very grippy. I just can't say enough. That having that nice thumb ramp on the back of that where the spider hole is super incredible. It's really one of the best things about some of these knives is that ability to do that. Very, very, very nice on those things. Um, some of the things that maybe I would like them to change, I'm not finding a lot on this. Obviously, once you get different colors, when you have black or white specifically, these dark colors, they tend to hold grime. I like my knives to look new even when I'm using them. I know a lot of you guys like to go in and, put patinas on your blades and, you're hardcore. I love that about you. I love the fact that you guys do that. I tend to not do that as much with my knives. Um, I do wish that and you can go find aftermarket, but we're talking just stock here. It's not a super deep carry clip. Again, not the end of the world for me because I don't use it as much, but a lot of times I don't use it as much because it sticks so far out and ends up catching on things. Um, I do like the fact that it's got a nice big lanyard hole for those of you that like lanyards. Again, not a big thing for me, but many of you guys do that, so that's great. Um, so the things I do not like about this knife, I don't really have any. I really think it's a great size. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue with what Spyderco has done so many times, and just really made a living off of. This knife is has become my favorite knife to carry out of the gate. So that really brings us to, would we recommend this knife to anyone else? And quite frankly, yes, I would. Like, this knife is probably what I would consider a top 5 everyday carry knife. I've only used it for a few weeks, so it's hard to say it's, better than my 940 or, absolutely better than the PM2 at this point. And really, it's going to depend again on your use case that you have out there. But from a general person, everyday carry kind of situation where I go to baseball, I go to the office, I go, I'm driving a lot. This knife stays out of my way in my pocket. This knife is big enough to do most tasks very easily. In fact, it's bigger than most tasks, quite candidly, for what I use. S30V, isn't the greatest steel in the world, but it keeps an edge well enough for me and my ability where I can strop it and keep it sharp without having to sharpen it every week. Overall, I mean, it is one of my favorite knives already. I would definitely give this a recommend. I think we'll probably see over the course of the next year or so the pricing come down on this guy. I think it's kind of novel right now. They can come out charging that 120, whatever it was, 130 bucks for the S30V knife. I think it's like 120 bucks on Knife Center right now. If it's in stock, I think that's what I paid for. It was 120. It is a small knife, and 120 bucks for an S30V G10 scale knife. That's kind of high. I guess that might be one thing I wish they did a little bit better, but I'm fairly certain once the novelty of the new Para 3 kind of wears off, we're going to see that a lot better. So anyways, guys, that is it. This knife is definitely a must-have in most people's knife collection. I think anybody that likes Spyderco has probably either got one or looked at one. And if you're a Benchmade guy, I apologize. Just kidding. But if you're a Benchmade guy or a ZT guy, this is a great Spyderco knife for you to start breaking into some of these Spyderco. Spyderco's doing some great things. I love the Spyderco company. They really seem to put a lot more creativity in their knives than a lot of the others. I think Spyderco and ZT are the two doing the most creative things from a production knife company standpoint, in creating some not necessarily high-end knives, but higher mid-range knives. And I think this is a prime example of them taking their time and doing the knife right. So that's it for today, guys. I do have a Giant Mouse 2 video coming out. I also want to do some sharpening videos as we start comparing Wicked Edge versus some of the other, out there, the Edge Pro. Even the KME's kind of been interesting looking. So we have some additional stuff that we're going to look at from a knife perspective, as well as, the weather's starting to get warmer here in California. So we're going to have some outdoor products that we're going to start bringing forward as well. Some new things we're going to try out, maybe some stuff from BattleBox. So please stay tuned. Hit that follow button down below. Give us any comments you have. If there's anything you've seen that I've missed in this knife, I don't pretend to know it all. I can just give you my first impressions and whether or not I recommend it in the end. So I hope you guys are all having a great year. I look forward to the next video. Thanks, guys. See ya.